going on, everybody? It's your resident nerd, Lance, and I'm hanging out with Gabe and the Jedi Troll. Welcome to the second episode of Absurd Words from Your Preferred Nerds. Now, on today's episode, we're going to kick things off with our Bad Movie Club, and today's movie is The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. Gabe, what can you tell us about the movie?
So, it's... Well... Okay, no, for real. So, Peter Cushing, you know, his character, he's in it, but there's Dracula pretty much takes over this guy's body, goes to a village, raises the seven golden vampires. Later on, Peter Cushing has to get a band together. They want to go and they want to stop him to save that village from Dracula and the seven golden vampires. So that's pretty much a very quick premise of what's going on in the film. And I have to say, I liked it a lot better than Robo Vampire.
I definitely second that. Just to add to what Gabe said, the movie is from 1974. It's a co-production between the Shaw Brothers
and MC Hammer.
And Hammer, the iconic British horror studio. Mm-hmm. And Peter Cushing is actually playing Van Helsing, reprising his role from the previous Dracula movies, which starred Christopher Lee as Dracula.
Mm-hmm. I like how they kind of threw that in there too, like talking to Van Helsing, Peter Cushing, about his exploits going to Transylvania and stuff like that, kind of throwing back to, you know, some other movies he's played in and stuff, so that was kind of cool.
But this was the first martial arts and horror spectacular ever filmed.
True.
The trailer does state that.
Yes,
it
does.
Was it MC Hammer, though?
Pretty sure. I don't recall hearing his music, and also considering it took place in 1974, or was filmed in 1974, that may have been pre-MC Hammer.
But I thought I saw something where MC Hammer had thought about doing it, and it would be the first big martial art horror spectacular. He went to the studio, and the studio said, "Well, you can't touch this without a co-producer."
God.
Oh, there's the first one.
I guess maybe you can't believe everything you read on the internet.
No, I'd say that's a good point.
Plus Ultra.
You know, like, this was the first Hammer production that didn't have Christopher Lee in as...
It is. It's the first time without Dracula. So I was actually on Wikipedia after the movie last night, and the actor who played Dracula did not voice Dracula. So there's a dub actor that did Dracula's voice for both his original incarnation and then when he takes over the Asian dude's body.
But you can tell though in the scene when Peter Cushing meets Dracula, the shock on his face because he was expecting to see Christopher Lee. Because for today's generation that doesn't know it, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing were this generation's Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart.
Like, wait a minute, you're not Count Dooku.
Wait a minute.
You're not Saruman.
Dooku. Oh, by the way, I do have a screenshot I have to show you guys. As I was watching the film, I had to take it. It was hilarious.
What was it?
So...
Just shoot your friggin' kickstand off.
Okay, so... like I said, I enjoyed it decently. You know, I mean, it was a bad movie, but I have to remind myself it's bad because there were so many scenes...
Well, compared to Robo Vampire, I actually felt a little reluctant calling this a bad movie by comparison. Like, it's not... It's dated. It's from the 70s. It feels like it's from the 70s. It's probably on a relatively low budget. But it wasn't bad at the same way that Robo Vampire was bad.
Right.
Like, it's cheesy and tongue-in-cheek, and you can't take it too seriously.
It wasn't nearly as boring.
No, there was there was like the big fight scene midway through the movie, which was awesome. Where like you had that kind of moment where everybody's jumping into frame, ready to fight with their weapons.
So it was good, but the fights there were way too many scenes that were drug out. I'm sorry. Even the fight scenes, they just kept going. I was like, yes, action. And then it keeps going. And I'm like, okay, more action. Then it keeps going. And it's like...
That's how old Kung Fu movies are, though. I mean, it's just the time that it...
All right. So you see Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
Right there, right?
Yeah, that's Peter Cushing.
So then...
Is that the real one or the CGI one?
So the camera pans over to Dracula. and then it pans right back to Peter Cushing, and he looks like he ran a marathon. This is before Dracula even touched him.
Is it? Can I?
Yeah. Like, I mean, he has
his hair is disheveled.
And then it's over here more.
Hell, he looks like he lost 50 pounds.
Look. So, it pans over to Dracula. And then his hair's all whacked up and looks like he ran a marathon. That's before Dracula, throws him.
Inconsistencies in the editing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in that scene, he's getting ready to leave. And then he...
Yeah, but he's still standing in that same spot. He doesn't... And his hair's
But what's happening in that scene?
What? Nothing yet.
Well, no, like, why does he stop? Why doesn't he keep on going?
Because he's talking to Dracula at this point.
Yeah. Already.
And then Dracula, he becomes his true self.
But they start to leave.
No, not yet. Not yet. He hasn't left yet.
But he's starting to. When all of a sudden he senses a presence he hasn't felt in years.
Good God. But, okay.
That's also from another Peter Cushing movie as well.
Do you remember the beginning, though? When he decides to take over Khan's body, Dracula. When they're sitting there spinning, it felt like it was like 25 minutes.
That went too long, yeah. Right before that, though, I loved that spot with Dracula coming down from his coffin to right in front of him.
That did look very good.
I don't know if they did wire work or if he was on like a...
I'd say a platform, kind of like a little conveyor
something
belt
lowering down, because like he wasn't walking, because he doesn't move up and down and bob, but he just slowly hovers down to him. And for 1974, it looked really good.
It did. He did good. I mean, the people in it did good. I mean...
Some cheaper movies have to have their dead hop.
Hop? Yeah. They didn't hop as much. But they did hop a little bit.
Yeah, they almost looked like when they were walking or running, like they were kind of skipping or galloping almost.
Not the whole, but...
Yeah, arms weren't necessarily extended.
Did you have flashbacks when you started seeing that?
Yeah.
Did it make you angry?
To that horrendous movie.
Did it make you angry when they started doing that?
No, not angry.
You weren't hopping mad?
Oh my God. The Jedi troll, everybody.
But it's... You should just get somebody to sit in the corner and with a snare drum and a hi-hat.
Next episode, if we get like 5 more viewers, we'll get a drummer in here.
We're going to sucker into that, Nick.
If we can get one more
get Nick to travel and...
We'll get a drummer in here. Okay. It was good, though. Significantly better than Robo Vampire.
Much better. Yeah, I mean, like, not a great movie. I liked... Even though, like, the good thing they shot in China. Like, it was on location, I think, in Hong Kong. So it was cool. Like, the sets were nice and big. It didn't look cheap, like it was in a studio backlot or anything. The big ancient Chinese pagoda temple that they had for where the vampire's lair was really cool looking. It reminded me of the pagoda from Game of Death, the Bruce Lee movie. So that was cool.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That was probably the nicest looking set they had in the whole movie.
It was.
I do have a question. Perhaps y'all can answer it.
No questions, no lies.
The vampires, there were 7 of them. But then they also had an army of the undead. Mm-hmm. And so, like, in Game of Thrones, we had the White Walkers, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Why is it whenever you become undead, you want to enlist in an army? Why don't you ever just set out on your own? Why do you always join an army of the undead?
Well, I think in traditional Dracula lore, anyone that he kills or feeds from doesn't necessarily turn into another vampire. They become undead.
Right.
So he has to actually, I think, actively turn you into a vampire, and I think the stronger-willed become vampires. And then the other ones just become these sort of undead zombies that have to do his will. So I don't think they had a choice in the matter. I don't think they went to a recruitment center and signed up, or, they didn't have the undead Marines, the undead Air Force, the undead Navy, the undead National Guard.
Oh yeah, what's the new one? The space?
Undead Space Force?
Space Force.
That's Ghosts of Mars, if you haven't seen
Dracula
it.
3000.
That movie is terrible.
It's awful.
Right here I got...
Uh-oh. Pulling from the collection.
That's where the Space Force undead
goes.
Ghosts of Mars.
Oh, that shelf, though.
That shelf. I was waiting on it, though. I thought a joke was coming.
Did you?
He was explaining something, and then I figured he would troll us again.
Well, no, I just wondered, like, everybody, when you go undead, you seem to join an army. You don't ever see any loners that just like, oh look, there's an undead guy walking over there. No, they're always in a group.
I mean, because they're relatively weak in almost everything you watch or read, especially by themselves. You know, you take one zombie.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you're a loner in real life.
Even in this, I think one of them died from a punch to the chest. I think that was enough to hit the heart and kill him. So that was, they're not very strong.
No. I did like that guy with the 2 axes, though. I like the different brothers.
Yeah, one had a spear, one had swords, one had axes. The axes were cool, though.
Even the his sister, that one Chinese guy's sister, that had the 2, butterfly? No, not butterfly knives. The... what are those called? Remember, she fought with those 2.
Yeah, I don't remember what they were, but
they were the small daggers. I can't remember what they're called, but
steak knives.
Steak knives.
But the martial arts were good. The end of the movie, like it was like Rogue One, man. They were just started killing off brothers in that final battle, like left and right.
They all survived and then just
dead. The chick dead. Everybody dead, except.
Did you just ruin the movie for everybody?
I think it's implied that you don't watch Bad Movie Club unless you've seen the bad movie or don't care to have it spoiled.
Yeah, because Marina will not. She won't watch any of the movies.
This one, I would actually... I will get into the ratings once we're done talking about it, but much more easily recommended than Robo Vampire.
A lot more.
I wish this was actually on Prime, because I would have liked to have watched it in HD.
I know, and get rid of all those stupid ads and...
I think Scream Factory put out a Blu-ray for it, so there is a HD source available for it.
And of course, Peter Cushing did great. He always does good.
I mean, how many times had he played the role by that point, though? So, you know, it's kind of a role he was synonymous with.
I just wish Christopher Lee had been in it.
Why is that?
Well, because, you know, Lee and Cushing were always Dracula and Von Helsing. But Lee didn't want to get typecast and be in a kung fu movie actor, so he just turned it down.
But he played a Sith, and he did good at that. Very good at that.
That's not kung fu.
Yeah, but he's still...
There's an element of martial arts, too, Jedi
That's
fighting.
the Sith arts.
The Sith arts.
I mean,
really bad kung fu.
I think Peter Cushing would have... I mean, Christopher Lee would have been better. I thought I mean, since it is just a dub job, I thought the guy who did the voice for Dracula was really good. It had that kind of classic horror feel.
He looked good and he sounded good. I mean, he did good, but yeah, just Christopher Lee, just his voice alone, I mean, it's just so iconic, you know. I agree. He would have done better, but this guy wasn't bad. Didn't do bad at all. I didn't know that, though, over the whole voice dub.
Yeah, I mean,
voiceover.
But it does have some practical issues, because like when you're going towards the village and the caves, you can see Peter Cushing wearing slippers. Which he was famously known for.
He's just famously known for wearing slippers all the time, not just in Star Wars, because of uncomfortable boots.
No, it started back in the 50s.
Oh.
Way before those movies.
Well.
He was basically Hugh Hefner. He just walked around in slippers and a robe and stuff at all times.
He didn't care.
That's where the term cushy shoes comes from.
God.
I mean, so my summary would be, like, same issue you had. If they cut some of the scenes a little bit shorter, we were a little tighter with the editing.
It didn't have to be that long, yeah.
I mean, it runs about an hour and a half. Maybe just 5 minutes would have been enough to cut off the whole movie and made it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But infinitely more watchable than Robo Vampire.
100%.
One that you can watch non-ironically and get enjoyment out of, because there is some good fight scenes. There's some cool horror elements. You've got Peter Cushing. There's enough there to make it enjoyable on its own.
Like you said, fight scenes too, yeah.
Now, there was... it was released under 2 different names, like in the U.S. and in China, Japan. But it was called, like, Dracula and the 7 Golden Vampires and something else. But the U.S. version, I don't know if that's the one that we watched, was... It said that there was 20 minutes of it cut out. So it could have... I don't know which version we saw. I don't know if we saw the one that was cut or the longer one. But
yeah, what was the other title? It was something about the 7 brothers or something like that, or the 7 brothers meet Dracula.
Yes, because Ching took all of his... Luckily, all his relatives knew kung fu, so they all went on the mission.
And then all but one of them had to die.
Well, I think they did that. They all trained because their village was, under attack. So they
they were descendant from.
Yeah, they all wanted to be good just in case they ever had to fight the evil again, which they did.
It's a good point. Touche, as you would say.
Two so goods.
Two so goods.
Two so goods would be my rating on this.
Okay.
It's out of 5, so I mean,
Yeah, that's.
It's definitely not a 0, and it's definitely not a 1 because it kept me going.
That scale's not weighted just for bad movies. That's like of all movies.
Right,
so like
correct.
if you watched Infinity War, you'd give it like 5 so goods.
Oh.
But then you watch this and you give it 2 so goods. So by comparison, it's not bad. That's
right.
And for a bad movie, that's not bad.
Right, yeah, because I mean it's a bad movie, but it's not a bad movie. No, that makes 0 sense. It does make sense. He'll understand his Jedi wisdom.
I would give it 5.5 out of 10. I think that's fair. It's. I mean, I don't want to go too high on it because, I can't really rightly compare it to the other Hammer Dracula films and stuff that are better. But also so much better than the 2 that I gave Robo Vampire. So I'm going to try and keep these things in line and keep my reviewing system canon. So
Robo Vampire.
I'm going to go with a 5 out of 5.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Steve?
It's a good rating.
I'm going to go with a 5 out of 10.
Nice.
So lower than Robo Vampire, because I think you gave Robo Vampire a 7.
7. That's exactly what he gave it. A 7. So you liked Robo Vampire better.
I was more attached to the characters in Robo Vampire.
What was the character's name again?
Tim? Or Tom?
Tom. That was it, Tom.
Tom.
And then Ray and Wendy.
God.
In fairness, I don't really remember the characters' names as much. I know Van Helsing, I know Dracula. I think
And then
Ching was
Khan.
the main kid. Ching.
Yeah.
Khan was...
The guy that Dracula took over.
Yeah.
Or
So
took his body.
we know some names.
Some. We know more
And we
than
did just
Robo
watch it
Vampire.
like last night or whatever.
I watched it this morning.
Oh.
So
It's pretty fresh.
I was going to watch it last night, but I got stuck on some animes, so...
Fair enough.
I mean, this movie gave me a real, like, Christopher McQuarrie type of feel. Like, the action, it was, like, non-stop, never-ending.
You think it's poised for a big-budget Hollywood remake?
I think so. I mean, could we get Hugh Jackman back to play Van Helsing?
Please don't.
You think maybe he's aged into the role at this point?
He's getting there. Man, he did good at Logan.
Yep.
I mean, you could get Tony Jaa, Donnie Chin, Tony Yanaman. Who else?
You can get Tiger Chan. You can get
Jackie Chan.
the dude from The Raid. I can never pronounce his name. It's like Iwo or Iwo, whatever.
Jet Li.
You can get the cast of Mulan.
Let's not.
All right, I think that's probably all we have to say on the movie. But if you guys want to tune in next week, our movie's going to be Samurai Cop. That's a fun one. It's one I've actually seen before, but it's just stupid enough that I want to watch it again.
Watch it?
Watch it. It's available on YouTube, so just search Samurai Cop. It's also on Amazon Prime at the moment, along with its sequel, which came out like 25 years later. But we're going to just review the first one right now, and maybe we'll get to the second one eventually. But go ahead and watch Samurai Cop, and then tune in for our next video. Could be next week, could be the week after, could be, whatever, some point soon.
Whatever.
Didn't they make a animated series on Comedy Central?
It's for Samurai Cop?
Yeah.
I think you're thinking of Axe Cop?
No.
No?
They made one for Samurai Cop,
Yeah,
is what you're saying?
his name was Jack, though, right?
Oh,
Samurai Jack, how dare you!
It's not funny, Steve.
Look, I don't know the source material.
Yeah.
It was on Cartoon Network, not Comedy Central.
Oh, yeah.
Samurai Jack
And it's my friggin' favorite animated series of all time.
It's pretty incredible. I think all of us in the house, me, Mike, Rebecca, shout out to all them, by the way. Just from, whatever.
The Quillins.
The Quillin. Woo!
Quillin.
But, I mean, I'm pretty sure they enjoyed it too, but we would all watch Samurai Jack in the house. It was a great show. I don't know if it's my favorite animated, but it was awesome. Or is awesome. Samurai Jack. Can't believe that. Blasphemy.
Genndy Tartakovsky, man. Awesome animator.
Calm down. Don't go all primal on me just because I mixed
up. God damn it, Steve.
Oh, no. R rating for this podcast.
For those of you who don't know, Primal is Genndy Tartakovsky's most recent animated series, which is on Adult Swim.
Don't go all primal on me.
Which is phenomenal. The whole story is about a caveman and a dinosaur who have to band together, basically, because I don't want to spoil, because that is new, that people can still watch.
Do you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like the Flintstones.
It's super actiony. There's no dialogue in the whole series. It's because it's a caveman and a dinosaur, so they don't talk.
Okay. So they don't hire screenwriters.
No. The whole thing is... Genndy's thing was always he believed instead of writing a script for a cartoon, you did a storyboard, and you animated from the storyboard.
Okay.
So rather than the script, it's all about the storyboard, because it's all action-focused.
Tell a story without telling a story.
Because he got his start as the action director on Powerpuff Girls, then did Dexter's Lab.
That was a good show. So was Dexter.
Samurai Jack, the 2003 Clone Wars series.
Can't wait.
So, that.
So,
the Royal Rumble was this past Sunday. Steve, did you want to talk about the Royal Rumble at all today?
Well, there were some shocking things that happened.
There were.
Edge returned.
Edge did return. It's nice to see my boy Edge back after 9 years in retirement. Woo!
So this is the first time he's been back since then?
Yes, because he had a serious neck injury.
Gotcha.
They said could have been life-ending, but it just wound up being career-ending. But he was able to... Yeah, he was able to come back after time off, rehabbing it and stuff like that. The fusion surgery and stuff.
Social media was quite upset because the rumors leading up to it was that Booker T would be in the Rumble. And apparently Edge took his spot, so now Edge is the most hated man on social media.
I don't think there's any truth to that, Steve.
Well, apparently you don't join the Booker T fan club on Twitter.
I like Booker, and I was one that said that he was rumored to be there because there was all these workout pictures and videos of him recently. I would have been okay with Booker being in the Rumble, but not in place of Edge. We'd seen Booker way more recently than we'd seen Edge in the ring, so I'd much rather see Edge back than Booker. Drew McIntyre, an absolute beast in that match, came in midway through, eliminated Brock Lesnar, who had eliminated every other competitor until that point.
Dang.
Yeah, Brock had 13 eliminations. Drew McIntyre comes out, eliminates Brock Lesnar, and then winds up winning the match. So he's going on to main event WrestleMania.
Touche.
So he's been 18 years into his career, and he's just now finally getting to the top.
Now, don't get me wrong. Drew McIntyre is good, but in my mind, Roddy Piper will always be the best Scottish wrestler that ever lived.
And by Scottish, you mean Canadian?
Scotland is it's next door to Canada. Pretty much.
In a sense.
Is it? Gabe, you have a dog in this fight?
No, I do not.
Just to be fair and impartial, Charlotte won the women's Royal Rumble match.
Mrs. Edge finished third.
Yeah, Beth Phoenix was also in the match, Edge's wife.
And she started the match as a blonde and ended up as a redhead by the end of the match.
Yeah, she hit the back of her head on a ring post and started bleeding, and her blonde hair turned red by the end of the match.
Dang.
She wound up, I think, having to get a couple staples in there after the match. But she looked really good for, another retiree.
Nice.
Another Hall of Famer. I still think Shayna Baszler should have won the match. She was dominant. So was Bianca Belair, but I think Bianca's still a little too green and early in her career. Shayna's a few years further in, and I think Shayna at WrestleMania would have been nice to see.
Being green never stopped Yoda or Kermit.
But the rumor now is that Charlotte's going to challenge
The Fiend.
Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's title instead of Raw or SmackDown. And Drew McIntyre's already announced his intentions to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. So hopefully he takes the belt off him there. That'll be nice to see.
Unless Matt Riddle gets him first.
Who, Brock? Bro. Did you see that comment he had? Oh, God, what was it? It's on NXT or... I think it was on NXT last week. Someone said something to him about... they were talking about joint manipulation, like submission moves. And he's like zoned out. And he's like, what? I just heard joint manipulation and zoned out. Because he's such a stoner.
You know, he doesn't own a pair of shoes. Did you know that?
Just flip-flops that he has to take off before entering the ring, like going to a public pool. He wrestles barefoot. Because he's got a background in MMA and they fight barefoot.
Gotcha. Yeah, my brother, he used to do, like, backyard wrestling. He was into wrestling more than I was. I was into the characters, but we never really watched it. Like, I love Sting, Undertaker, you know, like I told y'all earlier, the Hardy Brothers and stuff like that, but I never really got into it. Like, I don't think my brother was hardcore into it, but he did like it more than I did for a while, and he would do backyard wrestling and stuff like that, but I did get to meet Edge and Lita at Perkins, though. That was cool.
It was awesome.
That was cool.
2 Hall of Famers.
Well, we saw everybody running up there, and when we were up there, you know, we had Daniel with us, and he knew more about it than us. And we were wondering why Lita was with him, because we thought she was with the Hardy brother, you know. But we went up because everybody was running up to the front. And my God, you know, I'm not a tall guy, and I'm not super short, but Edge was massive, dude. I mean, that's
the thing you don't realize when you're watching on TV, when you see, like, Edge stand next to The Undertaker, or Edge stand next to the Big Show, because the Big Show is like 7 feet tall. Right. You don't realize Edge is well over 6 feet tall, so then when you stand next to somebody like that...
Super nice, though, man. Both of them. They were both nice as can be.
We went to a show in Bristol a few years ago, me and some friends and my wife, and we met Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe generally doesn't look that tall on TV. He's just kind of a big guy. But when we were all standing next to him, including Cody Leonard, you know, from work, was next to him, he made Cody look kind of short.
Really?
Because he's just a big dude, and he shook our hands, and like it just...
It's like a finger.
It's like a baby grabbing an adult's finger. That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah.
Steve's going to be a wrestler. That's what I heard.
Didn't you once stalk one of the on-air talents outside the bathroom in Applebee's?
So we went to Applebee's after a WWE show in Johnson City at Freedom Hall. And I thought I saw Byron Saxton, who's a WWE announcer.
What?
On Raw right now. Sitting at the bar.
What?
And so I saw him go to the restroom because we were sitting relatively close to the restrooms. And once I saw him go to the restroom, I realized it was actually him. So when he came out of the restroom, I asked him for a picture because I didn't want to do it in front of people so that everybody would bother him. But I definitely wanted the picture, so I snapped that selfie when he was coming out of the bathroom.
At least he waited till he came out of the bathroom, huh?
I thought the story was going to go with you chased him into the bathroom. So
No.
He could be away from everybody.
No, I thought it would be nice to get him back there at the corner where other people couldn't see.
Yeah, I think you need to rein it in now. It's turn your wheel.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't know much about wrestling. I like some of the characters, actors, and stuff like that, but I don't.
So, are you officially caught up on My Hero now?
Oh, yes.
So
me and Marina finished it last night. Man, it was
My
amazing.
Hero Academia over there.
My Hero. Favorite character, Todoroki. Deku, I love Deku. Underdog story, I love it. And then there's the main hero, of course.
Yeah, the decor.
I ain't gonna ruin nothing. The
decor.
The decor. But yeah, I am caught up. We finished it last night.
Awesome.
Super emotional episode. I don't want to spoil it because everybody needs to watch it.
Did you see the one after that then, or no?
No, the last one we saw was the sad one.
Okay,
that's the only ones on that website that we could
You're watching
find.
dub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dubs are usually a week behind. So the next episode that you're going to watch, which is Saturday's episode, is like, I don't want to say it's a filler episode, but not a lot happens. It's one of those ones where everybody's kind of going back home and they're setting up what's going to happen next. So.
What happened overall, I won't spoil that either, but I was like, see, Shigaraki, I'm a huge fan of him as a villain, so I think he's awesome. I want to see him go and go and go and go. So I didn't expect My sister's made a good point. The sad part that happened, it would have made sense to. I mean, it was good and it was super emotional, but figured bringing him in like that, they would have kept him in longer. Same with Overhaul. Of course, Overhaul's not dead, but what happens to him? I don't want to spoil it. But awesome. Oh my God, Deku going.
I don't want to go full. Yeah, you just think about Deku in that fight, man. Like, it was badass.
Like,
that's the most powerful we've ever seen.
But that's what we can look forward to, because even when they start the show, he says this is a story of how I became the greatest hero. So we get to look forward to him doing that. But that was a preview of what he's going to turn into later, and it was just
what he'll eventually be capable of.
Man, God, that was awesome. Yeah, phenomenal. So we're caught up to what we can catch up on dub, because we've watched some sub. My wife can stand it more than I can, but I'm a dub fan. I just don't. And they have great voice actors, for dub. So
it's just, if it's something like My Hero, I'll watch it in the dub sub just so I can watch it as it comes out. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the other animes I've been watching. Like, there was a bunch that came out in 2019 that I really liked. Demon Slayer was really good.
That's what we've got to start watching too. I watched the first episode. So.
Fire Force is another one.
Not watched it.
Dr. Stone, another one, and then one called No Guns Life, which had like a mid-season finale.
Wait, is that on Hulu?
It is.
Okay, I saw that going through. That's when I saw it when I was looking for an anime, and I finally landed on Akame ga Kill. Tragic, but fantastic anime. So
yeah.
If you're a fan of anime, watch it. Akame ga Kill. It's great. I don't even know how you say it, but that's her name, Akame. But and then I started watching One Punch Man. Surprisingly, I've never seen it.
One Punch Man is hilarious.
It's
so
over
the
amazing.
Top, but it's hilarious.
It is amazing. Like, it's just something refreshing. And someone had pointed out you don't have to sit there and constantly follow it. You can come back to it, and it's like, it's got great animation. Fighting, the characters are awesome. I love the Cyborg. What's that? Gord. What is his name? Garrett. I just started. I don't know, but it's fantastic.
Gino.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, I was way off. Garrett.
I was trying to think. It's the name of the little puppet doll in Super Mario RPG. It's the same name.
Oh yeah.
That's what made me think of it. Yeah.
Touche. Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's one of my favorite animes. Like, is One Punch Man, because it's got an overarching story from being beginning to end of season, but it's so like funny. Like, it's not. There's serious elements, but it's more funny. The action's awesome. He's so OP.
Yes,
it literally is. Most fights is just one punch. Once he gets that one punch, it's over.
Well, you see all these animes, or even movies for that matter, where the heroes will fight and they'll struggle a little bit, and that's so what makes it good between the hero and the villain. But this is I guess the manga started it, and they do something different where the hero is just, he's just human, and then he's OP, and it's like it's refreshing to see something funny and exciting, and he's just powerful instead of him struggling like most heroes do to beat the villain. It's something different. So
because he worked out so hard that his hair fell out.
I love the faces he makes.
It sounds like it's got a lot of aspects to it that you like.
It does.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's more of a combination of things instead of just a one punch.
That could
boxing
be said.
Fans will get that.
Jedi troll.
Boxing fans here.
Yeah, yo.
Adrian.
There's a guy.
We did it.
There's a guy who took more than one punch.
Paulie. He did take more than one punch, you're right.
So, in the last week since we did our last episode, Becky and I watched The Terror on AMC. It's on Hulu now. But it's got 2 seasons of it, and it's an anthology horror series. So the first season's based on a book, and it takes place in the 1800s, mid-1800s, in the Arctic. They're on an expedition looking for the Northwest Passage to get from, Europe to China. Mm-hmm. Through the Arctic, and it turns into like a monster movie story. There's a creature up there hunting and killing the people.
The Yeti.
I'm not going to spoil it, but it's not a Yeti. It involves Eskimos and stuff. But
it's on Hulu?
Yeah.
Bumble.
It's on Hulu. Each season's 10 episodes. That's
from Rudolph.
It's a Bumble! Bumbles bounce! But Jared Harris is the star of it.
Nice.
I love some Jared Harris.
Yep. Nice.
The guy from Chernobyl?
The guy from Chernobyl.
Yep.
Which Becky and I finally started watching the other night. We only watched the first episode, but
it's like me. I've only seen the first
good.
one. Everybody said it was amazing. I've seen the first episode.
His career is red hot.
I mean, he is on a roll. Steve joke aside, he...
Joke? I was just making a comment.
That red hot.
Mm-hmm.
He had the Terror, which was his season was 2018. Then 2019 he did Chernobyl. 2020 he's in Morbius. So he's more visible than he's ever been. There was rumors too about him reprising his role in some capacity in the next Sherlock Holmes movie.
Gotcha.
Where he plays Moriarty.
Nice. Very nice.
But
you say Oh Joy?
Yeah, he did Sherlock Holmes movies because it's Guy Ritchie.
Why don't we do those bad movies? No, I can't.
They were good.
Steve hates Guy Ritchie, so he hates the Sherlock Holmes Guy Ritchie.
Even though they were good, they were. I mean, they were very fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
they're the greatest movie in the world.
The ideal Sherlock adaptation, as of right now, is probably the BBC series with Benedict Cumberbatch,
yes,
Martin Freeman.
Agreed.
That's probably the best adaptation at the moment. But in terms of like a fun movie version, these suffice. They're good. I mean, there's like a little steampunk element to it. They added a lot more action into it. He still does the, kind of Sherlock Holmes deducing things into the process, almost like House-like,
Sherlock for a new generation, almost. I mean, just to give something fresh and kind of a new feel to Sherlock. So,
but anything involving Guy Ritchie, Steve's like, nah.
Yeah, kind of like you and, what's that actor?
We're not going to talk about Zac Efron again.
There it is. He hates Zac Efron.
We talked enough about him in the last episode.
I know, but still.
A live-action Great Mouse Detective would be better than the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, come on.
I love the Great Mouse Detective, but no, they were not going to shit on Sherlock Holmes.
They were good.
Because I've got them up here somewhere.
They were good. They were both good.
Why not?
I love the Oceans movies.
We'll just look through my DVD rack over here for an hour. That's the podcast.
There's the one. It's in the shadows over there.
Can you see the face that I'm making in disgust right now? I want to make sure I'm not off camera.
I'll do it
Back
for
to
you.
Jared Harris.
Yes. Jared Harris.
Before he's committed career suicide by going back to the Sherlock Holmes. What else is he going to do?
Oh, well, those are just the three things that I noted, because he had 3 years in a row where, like, before that, he wasn't the star of anything, but he's the main character in The Terror, he's the main character in Chernobyl, and then, supposedly, I guess a sizable role in Morbius, so... I guess he already shot down the rumors that he was playing Octavius, so, who knows?
That would have been nice.
Maybe he's just has to say that,
I'll tell you,
or it's a role he can sink his teeth into.
Oh, Steve.
So season 2 of The Terror takes place during World War II in a Japanese internment camp here in America. So it's like a vengeful spirit kind of story.
Oh my.
Where the main... George Takei is in it. So George Takei is in it. He plays a supporting character in it because if anyone didn't know, George Takei as a child actually spent time in a Japanese internment camp as an American citizen. So, shitty part of our country's history, but makes for good story.
Yeah.
But they're the main characters then are kind of being haunted by this vengeful spirit. People are being killed inside the camp. It's an emotional story. I don't like it as much as the first season because I think the first season, the setting was really what sold me for it. It's all surrounded by ice the entire time. You got these 2 ships frozen in ice stuck there in the Arctic. And a monster. I'm a big fan of monster movies.
Yeah,
monster
no kidding.
horror.
So it does have a horror element to it.
Yeah. I mean, both seasons are straight horror. It's just historical horror. So, like, what I like,
Cool.
So if you like the second episode of Dracula, where it takes place on a ship, the first season of The Terror is for you.
I mean, I did. I enjoyed the first and second episode. The first was, bar none, the best. Dracula on Netflix. Phenomenal. I mean,
we didn't talk about that last week. I'm surprised.
No, it's the first episode. blew me away. I mean, it is fantastic. It's got that true Dracula feel to it. It's got the Bram Stoker feel to it. I mean, the actors do great. Actresses do great. Second episode, really good. Not as good as the first, but it was, it was an adventure. It was fun. And then the third one just
fell apart.
Yeah.
Don't want to spoil why it fell apart, because I do recommend that people still check it out. It's on Netflix, so watch it.
Episodes.
The third episode changes the setting drastically.
Majorly. And
it affects the show. It adds a bunch of new characters, none of which I clicked with and resonated with.
Like in the first
the first two episodes had characters that you cared about and that were, you liked them. But the overall ending to the series, I think, worked. And if they would have taken what happened at the end and inserted that at the end of the second episode, or just did a completely different second episode, a third episode that ended the same way, I would have been okay with it. It would have been a much better series. But just the third episode, significantly weaker than the first two.
Definitely. What was I saying? That was it.
One more note on the terror before we get off that was that at the end of the last episode, George Takei says, "Oh my." And Becky turns to me and she goes, "He said it!"
Oh my.
He's like, it's the little, I think it's a girl made something and gave it to him or whatever. It was like food or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, you made this?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh my."
Very nice. Steve, you got anything? Or, I'm sorry, Jedi Troll Jedi? The Jedi Troll. Taking a stroll.
Well, last week we had since we've been off the air, since we're not daily yet.
Yeah, if you guys like and subscribe enough and view us to the point where we can get monetized and make significant money off this, get some sponsors, maybe start a Patreon, we could do daily.
I'm available hourly.
Daily, we could definitely do daily if we could live off this. That'd be nice. But we're not quite there yet. We've got to get above the 16 subscribers that we have at the moment. Hopefully that goes up with each episode.
Yeah, just anybody who enjoys listening and, chiming in the comments.
We talk about nerdy shit, yo.
Just talk about anything you want to and just hang out. That's really...
Actually, the truth is we recorded this conversation in summer of 1974 after we just walked out of the theater seeing Legend of Vampire. So we don't do this often.
So we filmed this before we saw Robo Vampire because that came out in, what was it, 86?
85.
85?
85.
So we saw Robo Vampire in 80.
Wait, no. It was 88, wasn't it?
It might have been 88.
88, because the sequel
was 88. It was 88, yep.
Well, we'll just, for the sake of continuity, we're time travelers. We travel through time and we watch shitty movies.
Oh.
That's going to be loud.
That was our studio audience.
And 1 subscriber.
We're going to look back after this episode. It's going to go from 16 to 15. It's like, no, thank you. I don't want any more of this.
It's okay. We love you all anyways. I do, at least.
Perhaps you should put a link in the comments saying that to not listen to this episode with headphones.
Oh my!
If I can, I'll go back and lower the volume on the clip.
Yeah, that was my fault. Sorry, y'all.
But if I can't enjoy being deaf for the rest of your life, I mean, what are we gonna do?
Fart?
No.
But since we joined you last week, they've announced that there's going to be an Anaconda reboot.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about that.
It's hard to... Do you see anybody being able to replace J-Lo in the role, or just get her back? Because I really don't see,
I'd rather see Alexandria Daddaria, or however you say it, than J-Lo.
I don't mind the first movie. Like, it's a good, cheesy sci-fi horror kind of thing. But I think, it's an ensemble cast. It's not just Jennifer Lopez. It's Jon Voight, it's Ice Cube, it's Owen Wilson, I think, was even in it. It was a good cast. It's just... what's the point of remaking it? What are you going to do that they didn't already do? They even did, a significantly less successful sequel for theaters, and then, 2 crappy sci-fi channel sequels, and then a crossover with Lake Placid, I think they did. Anaconda versus Lake Placid or whatever. They're all just... They ran it in the ground. How are you going to reboot that? It's like Leprechaun. Is anybody going to take it seriously in 2020?
No. Mm-mm.
Well, there was also announced the Bambi live action.
Yeah. Did they announce any crew on that? Director, writer, or anything?
No. I don't know. I don't know what director's going to take it because it's obviously going to be a tough shoot.
In fairness, I guess we'll need somebody that's adept with, special effects, motion capture, and stuff. Because I think they are supposed to do it the same way they did Lion King, where it's animated but a live action style.
Dang it!
Yeah, when Disney Plus came out, Becky and I just rewatched the original one.
It's so
she
sad,
cried.
man.
She's like, "We're not watching the new one."
I can't. I teared up during My Hero. I mean, I tear up during cartoons.
And there's a live-action Pinocchio coming as well with Robert Zemeckis directing.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
So,
hopefully.
Presumably motion capture for Pinocchio himself, and then live action for the rest of the cast.
Well, I say use that big Pinocchio from the commercials. Remember?
Oh, the Geico commercials? Yeah, but Robert Zemeckis is known for motion capture. He was the one who did Polar Express, the Disney Christmas Carol one with Jim Carrey, Beowulf. So he's done a lot of motion capture movies.
Back to the Future.
Is that motion capture? What was the other one? The
Roger Rabbit.
The one with Steve Carell that bombed last year?
Welcome to...
Morrowind?
The Office.
The Office. No, don't talk negatively about that show.
It was down to him and Jon Favreau to direct it.
Pinocchio?
Yeah, and Zemeckis went out by a nose.
You can't stop him.
Favreau's got to be busy at this point anyway. I mean, he's already got a sequel to Lion King planned. He's got a sequel to Jungle Book planned.
Pride?
I really hope they don't straight up remake the Lion King sequels, like the animated sequels, into live action. Hopefully they tell a new story. But as he's doing the Star Wars stuff too. Like, I guess there's the rumor that they're spearheading Star Wars going forward. Favreau, Kevin Feige, and all them, they're going to lead the team.
So for those of you waiting on Chef 2, it's probably going to be a while.
It's true.
Well, Star Wars, that said, I read something about Taika, or maybe one of y'all posted it, maybe wanting to do something with Star Wars in the future, Taika Waititi. And that would be fantastic. I'm sorry. I would absolutely love that. We saw what he did with the Mandalorian.
I think the story was that Lucasfilm was interested in him for it and has approached him about it. I don't know if what his take on it is.
I haven't seen anything else on it, but I mean, that's like...
But 100%, yeah. I mean, he directed the finale of The Mandalorian, which was awesome.
Was amazing, yeah. Incredible. He's the one that turned IG-11 around for me. All I cared about was IG-88,
I did see a rumor about what his project was going to be, but I don't know. It's not confirmed, so I don't feel like I should share it.
No, we can talk about rumors on here, Steve. What's the rumor?
Well, they said that he was playing an original story, best in the Star Wars universe, and it was called Jar Jar Rabbit.
Oh,
I hate and despise Jar Jar Binks, period. I hate that character.
Why do we keep doing it?
Walk right into it?
Yeah.
Because he's the Jedi troll.
Set him up and he knocks him down.
He'll force choke us to death if we don't listen.
In Marvel news, though, Paul Bettany said the other day that we would get to see something about WandaVision very, very soon, was his quote.
Yeah, there's a rumor that they were going to do a trailer during the Super Bowl or something, like a teaser TV spot. Awesome. It's not due to like the fall or something, right? Like they said
yes.
November, December, or something like that?
Like way later.
Yeah, late in the year.
Since it's going to be confusing as to what it is, might as well put it out there so we can all talk about how strange it is for months ahead of time.
Like the Tenet trailer? Tenet looks awesome, but the trailer doesn't give you any idea what it's about at all. It's like Nolan is known for making these kind of crazy high concept movies, but that looks crazy even for him. I'm assuming it involves some sort of ability to rewind time or something to that effect, but I have no idea what's going on in that trailer.
No. Nada.
And in news earlier today, there's a movie. I can't remember exactly what it's called. Is it Peter and Tinkerbell or Pan and Tinkerbell?
Peter and Wendy?
No, it's got Tinkerbell in the title.
Is she in the title? I thought it was something in Wendy.
Or maybe it is. But Disney's approached Margot Robbie to be Tinkerbell, supposedly.
Yeah, you did. You sent me about that like a couple hours ago, but it seems like they're just approaching her for everything now.
And in a related note, every teenage boy actor has now put in an audition tape for this movie.
Every teen actor is going to want to hang out next to Margot Robbie. I mean, I could see her as Tinkerbell. She's got the facial structure for it and everything. I don't know what direction they're going with the movie, so I can't speak to that.
I'm not a huge Peter Pan fan.
No?
No.
So I liked the original Disney movie, and then there was a mini-series on Sci-Fi a few years back. I can't remember what year it was, maybe 2008, 2009. They had the dude who played... what's the professor from the Harry Potter movies? Lovegood? Is that the blonde dude? Good guy? He's...
Professor Lovegood?
Or no, I don't know if he's... The girl who's weird.
Dr. Feelgood?
The weird girl who can see the skeleton horse. If anybody's a Harry Potter fan, I apologize for butchering all of this.
She sees those dead horses or whatever.
Yeah, she can see them. So her father, that's introduced in like the last movie or the last two movies.
Luna Lovegood.
See, I thought it was
Luna
Lovegood. So her father's something Lovegood then, right?
Sean?
God, man.
There's a wrestling reference.
It is Lovegood. Luna... It's not because I'm trying to put
so I want to say the actor's name is Reese something. I can't remember.
Luna Longbottom.
But he plays a young version of Captain Hook in it. This when things just go off the rails, and there's no sense of law and order.
The thing is,
some of this is improvised.
The thing is, I love Harry Potter. But that is crazy that I've not watched it in a while enough to know. And I've read the books too, but...
So don't expect a Harry Potter-themed episode of the show for...
Well, we'd have to rewatch, because I haven't seen them in years, and I don't think Steve said he's seen any of them ever.
None? That's why he's throwing out random names.
This is surprising, then, that we've had this issue.
That's hilarious. I do. Well, okay. So real quick.
So this is a bathroom break while he's googling.
I've got to look it up because it's bothering me now. So
it is.
He's the dude who played the lizard in Amazing Spider-Man.
Dylan Baker?
No, not the one from the friggin' Sam Raimi movies who never got to be the lizard. Ugh.
Oh, Steve.
There's nothing wrong with that. He played the lizard.
He played the lizard.
That's not going to help me because I can't pronounce that friggin' name.
It is Luna Lovegood.
Yeah, Luna Lovegood's father. But how would you even pronounce that?
Xenophilius Lovegood?
Xenophilius Lovegood?
Xenophilius Lovegood. How do you pronounce this, Steve? Right there. He played what? Who?
Xenophobic Lovegood.
Xenophobic.
Oh, xenophobic Lovegood. So that means his daughter is lunatic Lovegood.
I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Reese is how you pronounce the first name, but I don't know how to pronounce that last name.
Iphans.
So Reese Iphans is
the
actor.
You said that fine. Why couldn't you say his
in this
character name fine?
The point that we were getting back to before everything completely went off rail and shit the bed.
It was funny though.
He was in a sci-fi
Rated R, by the way.
PG-13 maybe. Have we said an F-bomb yet? Because we get one, if that's the case.
You said GD and you said... What else you say? No, that's it.
Anybody got dibs on that F-bomb? I'll throw it out there at some point.
Zac Efron.
Fuck you, Steve.
There it is.
There it is.
That's PG-13.
PG-13 now.
Let's see if it turns to R by the end of it.
No, not for me. I'm just going to drink my water and suck my thumbs.
You're guilty by association.
That is true. I'm here in the room with you. I feel Steve's presence.
If I was less lazy, I could get up and walk over there and look. I've got it on my shelf over there somewhere. But that was the point I was making. Steve was talking about the live-action Peter Pan one that's coming out. You said You were never a big Peter Pan fan. I was saying I like the original animated movie.
Right. The
also,
original Disney.
Steven Spielberg's Hook with Robin Williams and
that
Dustin
is
Hoffman.
a good movie. That is a good movie.
And then like this Sci-Fi Channel miniseries was really good. They did a string of them there from the same.
Well, they did a play, which we saw.
I mean, there's been a lot of adaptations. They did Pan a few years ago. There's been a bunch of different adaptations of it over the last.
Like, it's just like every year or two, there's like a new version. Like it never gets old.
I could see that one coming a mile away, and I did nothing to stop it.
That's because you've heard it before.
Thor: Love and Thunder. I wanted to talk a little bit about that, just because.
Because we know nothing new since last week.
Right. So,
we didn't talk about it last week.
Theories, rumors, blah, blah, blah. Thor's my favorite character. Ever since I was a kid, I got into Thor.
Full disclosure.
Norse mythology, it's Thor. We may be getting Beta Ray Bill. I've been trying to think of how they're going to do that, because if you're a fan of the comics, you know that Stormbreaker was actually Beta Ray Bill's that Odin, forged for him. So I'm trying to think, is Thor done? Because his contract's up. Okay, so there's talks that he may do a Thor 5 that Taika may do, but so is this him retiring? Going to give Stormbreaker over to Beta Ray Bill, and then of course we have Lady Thor coming in this movie. So I've been just trying to. I'm excited because he turned Thor around for the MCU. Taika did. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do in Love and Thunder. And Christian Bale is Beta.
Happy birthday, Christian Bale.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
And by the time this airs, happy belated birthday.
Never mind. Happy belated birthday.
Also, Gene Hackman's birthday. Great actor.
Happy birthday.
90 years old.
Retired, but yeah, great.
But yeah, so Christian Bale, is he going to be Beta, do you think?
So, going back to what I don't know that this is Chris Hemsworth's end or not. I think where he's so involved in the process now, like he was on Ragnarok.
He's getting to choose what Thor is turning into.
So I think that's something him and Taika are discussing, like behind the scenes. They're going to figure out before they do this movie whether this is the end for him or not. Like that's how they'll write it, whether it's a definitive ending for Chris Hemsworth's version of Thor or not. Mm-hmm. We won't know until the movie comes out, probably.
Right.
That said, I also don't think they continue the franchise going forward with Natalie Portman either. Natalie Portman's
she's a one and done, I think.
Yeah.
This is her second movie.
Well, third. This will be her third.
Yeah.
With Marvel. But I don't think where she didn't even come back for Ragnarok. I mean, granted her character wasn't necessary in that story. But she wasn't in any of the Avengers movies either. So I don't see Marvel luring her in.
She was in Endgame.
Yeah.
She was in Endgame.
She did. Yeah, she did.
Remember they showed her as Rocket was about to sneak up on her,
which may or may not have been stock footage.
The ether. There's Jane. No flame of mine. God, Thor is so funny.
Point being, I don't see Marvel or Disney getting her to sign on for more than one movie.
I don't either. I don't want to see that, honestly. I think she's a good actress. Natalie Portman, she's fine, but I don't want to see her. We'll
see her as Thor inherit the Thor powers because they've already confirmed that happening.
Maybe just to help fight
in this movie.
What if Beta Ray Bill's bad at first, and she has to team up with Thor to fight him, and then they realize, oh, he's good, and then Thor ends up giving Stormbreaker over to him, and Jane loses the power, gives Mjolnir back to Thor, and I don't know.
Jane falls in love with Ray Bill, and they kill him.
And they have little half horse babies.
Oh man! Because they did tease him already. He was in, his face sculpt was in Ragnarok,
along with Man Thing.
Yeah, exactly. Swamp Thing.
Man Thing.
Or The Nightmare Before Christmas. Swamp Thing's DC, right?
Yeah. Man Thing is Marvel.
Right, but they did tease him in Ragnarok, so he's in the universe. I can't wait. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I'm excited about Thor,
We didn't even have enough Thor in the last podcast, so...
yeah.
We just talked about Thor Frog.
Yeah.
Throg.
I guess it's going to depend, too, on what Chris Hemsworth wants to do, if it's going to affect any Men in Black International sequel plans.
That wasn't bad.
But
that
it
was
bombed,
not bad. It was
like,
pretty fun.
hard.
Yeah,
bombed.
I know it did. It didn't, as far as, a movie, it did. But watching it, it was enjoyable. It was funny. Like, they have really good chemistry together. And I enjoyed it.
Well, I guess
He's basically saying he displaced Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson and substituted Thor and Valkyrie into a Men in Black movie, and that's why he enjoyed it.
I mean, I was picturing them as Thor and Valkyrie quite often, but they did good.
That's where I was getting at before, was if they continue the franchise past Love and Thunder, I think Valkyrie's your lead. They may not call it Thor anymore. Oh, yeah. She may not be known as Thor, but I think she's your lead going forward. Not
she's searching for a queen in this film.
Yeah.
So, and then, I'm sure Korg and Meek will make an appearance, so that'll be great. But didn't Tessa, she also played in Creed, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah.
She's the love interest and his wife in the second one, yeah.
So good, man. Oh, that movie.
Spoiler alert, I guess, maybe.
Crap. No, they can look up and see the actress.
Well, I just mean where I said that she was his wife. In the second one.
Yeah. Okay, it wasn't my fault. I didn't ruin anything.
Can I bleep that? She was just beep in the second one.
She's his widow in the third one, right?
I do hope we get a third Creed. I
do
I don't know if the second one did as well at the box office as the first one, but it was good. It was good, yeah.
Yeah, it was very good. Very emotional, too.
Basically, Lance is saying that
she's his widow in the third one.
For the next 20 years, he wants to see a Rocky franchise film with Sylvester Stallone playing Rocky in it for another...
How many years?
I don't know, 20 years or something.
Do you think Stallone could have another 20 years, but I don't know that...
I don't... maybe.
I mean,
we could.
He's a health nut.
But he would be there.
It's true.
He would be there every time.
I'd watch it, yeah.
Speaking of time left, rest in peace to a fantastic basketball player.
Yeah, R.I.P. Kobe Bryant.
I want to throw that out. I'm
That's
very,
tragedy.
very sorry, and my condolences to the family, because that's a huge tragedy for so many people.
Him and his daughter.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And how many other, just like seven
people.
7 other people.
So, yeah, my condolences, because I can't even imagine. My wife brought that up, like, we get to go to bed, and then what are they doing? So, definitely, shout out to that. That was some pretty big news.
Way to bring down the vibe there, Gabe.
I'm sorry. Cut that part out. I'm sorry. I just wanted to give my condolences.
Well, I did it last week with Mr. Peanut.
It's not the same thing. You're comparing that to...
No.
Oh.
Just trying to lighten the room.
It's lit up enough.
During the Super Bowl, during the third quarter, there'll be the Mr. Peanut funeral commercial.
Yeah, that's real.
That is real.
So they actually are ending Mr. Peanut.
Have you not seen the first commercial?
I still haven't watched where the tree and all that or whatever, or the cliff.
So
whatever
that was real, and who knows what direction the commercial actually goes in when they air that Super Bowl commercial? He could pop up back at the end. Hey guys, I'm back. Blah, 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 blah. I'm Mr. Peanut.
They're paying $4 million to air that commercial during the Super Bowl.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're shelling out a lot of money.
Oh my God, I'm done. Done. Did y'all see the commercial with John Krasinski and Chris Evans
and Rachel Dratch?
Oh my God, man, that was hilarious.
Who shared that one?
Steve broke that first. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for.
That was funny though. I didn't realize. I knew Rachel could do the Boston accent because she did on SNL all those years, but I didn't know that Chris Evans and John Krasinski were actually from Boston. That's crazy.
Dude, they did. It was hilarious. I thought it was cool.
I had to look it up on Wikipedia because Becky asked me. She's like, "Are they from Boston?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And I'm like, "Shit, they are." Yeah.
Car that sells parts.
It packs.
It packs. It packs back here.
And then there'll be a. By the way, the Super Bowl's this Sunday. In case anybody doesn't follow football.
I don't.
Well, Chiefs, go Chiefs. Sorry.
Sam Elliott has a high noon duel in the streets.
Dorito commercial, right?
Yes.
That the teaser did not look like a Dorito commercial at all.
Well, the one I sent you this morning was the.
I didn't watch the one this morning. I was
watch.
busy watching the second half of Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires.
Wait, this morning?
I watched the first about 50 minutes of it last night, and then watched the rest of it this morning.
How do you turn it off in the middle of all that action?
It's pretty easy.
I was getting sleepy because I was down here. This is in the basement, the man cave at my house. This new fresh studio that you guys are seeing. I was down here setting this up last night, so it was late. I got tired.
He was working, Steve.
Well, last week he fell asleep during the movie that we were reviewing.
Well, I didn't fall asleep during it.
That is true.
I made a conscious point to stop the movie and then came back to it because I did legitimately enjoy it. For all of its faults, I thought it was a significantly more enjoyable movie.
It is. It is.
Bad Movie Club 2. I'll write that down at the bottom.
Bad Movie Club 2. Right. Down there. Somewhere, I don't know. So what else? What else is new in the...
Nothing.
Well, next month.
Nothing.
Next month.
Next month.
February, yes. Samsung announces so iPhone, what they did was they skipped the iPhone 9.
Oh, we're going to have a technology segment.
Yeah. So they skipped the iPhone 9 and went to, iPhone 10. A lot of people called it the X, but it was the 10,
Wait, who skipped it?
iPhone. Apple.
You said Samsung.
No, because I'm going back to that.
He's scatterbrained.
I'm scatterbrained.
It's like
your boss snatched your honor.
So
Okay.
it's similar to what phone you have on your activated currently.
Listen.
It jumps back and forth.
Listen. So, Apple skips iPhone 9, goes to 10. Well, Samsung, they're on their 10, right now. I guess they want to jump, since it's a new decade. They are releasing the S20.
20?
They have the S10 out right now, and they're jumping.
So they just
9
do their model to correspond with each year now?
With the decade. No, because I think each decade, so I think they want to fall in line. If you think about it, though, each company has released well more than the number that they are on. Because you got to think the Note Edge, and then they have the S6, S6 Edge, S6 Edge Plus. So if you count all of them, I'm sure they're probably up to 20.
Do you think every year they call it the S21, the S22, the S23?
Yeah.
So that way when they get to
30, it'll be 30.
They'll be at the beginning of the new decade.
Correct.
So it's like Madden. Like the Madden game.
Well, Madden releases the year ahead, doesn't it?
Yes. Right? You would know. You're the media man.
Yes, it releases year, but just name it whatever year. Put that number on the end of it.
I mean, with Apple too, it'll just be the same thing repackaged with a new number anyway.
Yeah, but Apple, they skipped the 9 and went to 10, but Samsung is skipping 9 phones. Instead of just skipping number 9, they're skipping 9
It's still
phones.
just a name. It's not like they're getting
9
times more advanced with a new phone.
Right.
Apple went from 8 to X.
10. Roman numerals. 10.
But the other ones weren't Roman numerals.
I know, that was my argument at first, but everybody said it was 10. So I don't know. I'm excited about that though. It looks like it's going to be similar to the Note 10. I think they're doing a whole bunch in this. I'm pretty excited about that. That's all I got. It's just Apple skips number 9, Samsung skips 9 phones.
So speaking of Apple in some capacity,
9 is getting the short staff here. What's wrong with 9s?
7, 8, 9. So 9 doesn't exist. Get it? 7, 8. No.
I can't sit at the end of this table anymore. Just both of you.
Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. So 9 doesn't exist anymore.
They're saying
Steve Joe. I don't know.
Well, there's a rumor going around again that Apple is interested in buying Sony.
I don't know.
And if they do...
They have some good phones.
Well, not just technology-wise. Sony, the film studio.
Here we go.
I see.
Tying it back to movies.
Yeah, it's tying it back to movies. Because this is
back
to where we need to be.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
The idea is that if Sony is sold to any company, which Apple appears to be the front runner at the moment.
They're the first $1 trillion company in the U.S., so I mean...
So if anybody buys Sony, Spider-Man's film rights revert back to Marvel automatically. They don't get into the sale.
That's right, because there's no boom. Gladly. I mean, Apple is the first $1 trillion company, mainly sorely due to their cords because they suck. So their accessories.
So lightning cable accessory.
The little dongles. You have to buy the accessories over and over and over again. But still, yet they have the funds to back it up. And there are people that follow Apple, whether they like it or whether they blindly follow it. Regardless, Apple will still make that money. So I would be okay with that. They have the funds to back anything up on it. I enjoy Apple. I like Apple. I'm very bored of their phones right now, but
video from Film Theory. They were talking about it, and they were talking about how I think right now there's like a $5 billion price tag on Sony or Spider-Man. If Marvel wanted to buy Spider-Man directly from Sony, it cost them $5 billion.
They could do it.
But
think about it.
If Sony is on the market altogether, and somebody like Apple buys.
It's true.
That they don't pay anything and they just get the film rights back because that contract states the rights don't transfer.
That's true.
Then we wouldn't have to worry about these Spider-Verse, these little
What are you talking about? Don't have to worry about it, dude. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was so good. I mean...
So good.
So good. We'll put that down there. I can't put it down there. He knows how to do it. So good. Fantastic movie.
It was.
What are you talking about? Don't diss the verse.
Spider-Verse, Venom, Morbius looks awesome.
Oh, yes.
I like the take on Morbius, man. Like, I like the visual style that it doesn't look like it's just another vampire movie or like a Blade knockoff. Like, the colors, the flashes of colors they use and his like powers and abilities.
Very good.
It looks cool, man. Like, the look of him at the end of the trailer, too. And plus, we get that tease of Adrian Toomes at the end of the trailer. Michael friggin' Keaton tying it all into the MCU.
I'm excited. See, I still don't think it's going to be as good as the other phases. But Marvel knows how to do it. So I think we still got some pretty awesome stuff coming up. I'm excited. I looked to see what your reaction would be.
You're not going to get a reaction. He's got a robe over his head.
Phase 4, 5, 6, all the new upcoming. How excited are you, Steve? That was
I think I'm more excited about the TV shows than...
yeah. They're going to be fantastic.
Negative.
No, not negative.
I mean,
You're negative.
We're at the beginning of like a new era
almost,
of Marvel. Yeah, like the Infinity Saga
is done.
Is over. Yeah,
it is done.
So now everything has to kind of reset, and we're starting off. We're going to be seeing a lot of new, fresh characters.
New heroes.
We're going to have to rebuild
new Avengers. We're going to have the new Avengers
from the beginning and get to that point again. Like as we've talked last week, I don't think it takes as long to get there. To this big build up to your big bad. Right, because some of
them are already in it, like Marvel, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange,
Black Panther.
So they're going to be definitely front runners. They have to be to help introduce these newer characters. I'm excited.
I think the question as Marvel fans we all have to ask ourselves is: does Kevin Feige still have the stones to rebuild this movie universe?
Oh, Steve.
I'm going to transform into my werewolf.
Smash!
I wish they did another Underworld.
What about the rumor that the film rights to Incredible Hulk have reverted back to Marvel, and that Marvel is planning a standalone film for Mark Ruffalo as Hulk?
I'm fine with that. That would get me excited, pumped up. I'd go watch it. I love Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. So. He did fantastic in Shutter Island too, and other things he's done. So
isn't he in Zodiac?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's always good. He's Mark Ruffalo.
He is. Yeah, it's Mark Ruffalo. He has
a meme of Mark Ruffalo on a buffalo eating ruffles or something.
Ruffle chips. Mark Ruffalo on a buffalo eating Ruffalos.
I'm not sure how I feel about a Professor Hulk movie though. I prefer.
Well, they didn't necessarily say it'd be Professor Hulk.
Yeah, it would just depend on where it takes place in the timeline. If it takes place post Endgame,
maybe they could show us, kind of wipe out the Edward Norton one. It was good. Okay, don't get me wrong. It wasn't It wasn't amazing. It was okay. It was enjoyable. It was fun. But if they could show us how Mark Ruffalo becomes a Hulk, I'd love to see another.
See, I don't think we're getting an origin story.
I know, but I would love to see.
But they could tell whatever happens between that Edward Norton movie
that time
and when we first see him again in Avengers, which, could be a sizable gap of time with plenty of time for him to fight his own villains. They set up, potentially the leader in the Incredible Hulk movie with Tim Blake Nelson. So there's a lot of places you can go without having to directly do the Edward Norton thing. Because, a lot of people, the feelings are mixed on that movie. But it is part of...
it was an abomination.
Abomination was the best part of that movie, though. Tim Roth is amazing.
Yes, he is. How many Fantastic Fours we're going to get? Keep rebooting them?
Well, now we're going to get him under the MCU. So, with the Fox buyout, the next time we see them and the X-Men characters will be in Marvel continuity.
I can't wait, dude. I can't. Okay.
And then we've still got conflicting reports back and forth as to whether or not New Mutants is going to be set in the MCU.
That would be awesome.
It will be, because Hugh Jackman has a Wolverine cameo at the end in the post-credit scene.
How do you know that?
Because this movie was filmed like 10 years ago, back when he was Wolverine. So it's taken 10 years for this movie to come out.
He didn't have a role in Dark Phoenix,
but you heard it. He is the Jedi troll. He knows. Exactly.
Can we really still call it New Mutants when...
Granted, I think Game of Thrones was still in season 6 or something when Arya filmed that movie.
Yeah, Arya looks like she's still learning how to swing a sword.
And then Stranger Things was probably in season 1 when that kid was in it. And
that's why they couldn't do reshoots, because they had aged so much by the time they get them back together.
That's probably somewhat accurate, actually.
As is most of my
reflections. Mulan.
So, you want to talk about Mulan?
The cartoon, not the film. Forget the film. Nope, I ain't watching it.
You don't want to fight the Huns?
No, I'm so done talking about that.
Gabe is not a fan of the new Mulan movie based on the news that's come out so far, because it's not a musical, so none of the songs from the original movie are in it, and no Mushu. So, I don't blame him.
Little brother's probably not in it either. He's probably not even in it. So, they're taking all the magic out. So, as a movie, it may be good. I'm not going to say the movie sucks. They just shouldn't have called it Mulan. That's my favorite Disney movie as far as cartoon goes. It's hilarious.
So far, Disney's, in this, since they started doing them, they did the Alice in Wonderland things, they did Cinderella, they did Jungle Book, they did Lion King, they did Dumbo, they did
Beauty and the Beast,
they did Lady and the Tramp, Lion King, Aladdin. They've done all these, but they've kept the music, they've kept the magic elements, they've kept things that make it feel like it's a live-action remake of the original.
Right. So and now this one is just...
Why just go in a complete historical direction and do something like that this time around? It doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Because, Mushu, come on, man.
I'm waiting for the live-action Toy Story.
That's good. That's good.
I'm sure the heads over at Pixar would never allow them to start remaking Pixar movies in live action.
But
Bugs Life? Cars?
No. I do not want to see a Bugs Life live action.
Cars? That sounds terrible. That sounds worse than the actual Cars.
That does. That'd be funny. That would be funny.
I don't even know how long we've been going. Does anybody have any idea?
I don't. Well, my wife's off work now. Well, it had to have been a little after 3.
Well, I'm sure we're past the hour mark on this. So do we want to wrap things up for the day on this? And
I'm good. Sure. Yeah.
Let these people get
next week
back to their lives.
Yeah. Y'all go
next week.
Take your.
Well, I don't know if it'll be next week definitively, but the next time we're here,
or tomorrow,
or next hour, depending on how many viewers we have after this post.
Remember, it's not going to be posted yet.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit, but
upload, editing.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a process.
But then we won't give a preview of next episode.
So I got a question.
What's that?
How are you so good at all this, but when you couldn't hook the Bluetooth Sony speaker up to your phone? Just a question. Legitly, because you are fantastic at all this.
I'm bad at the phone. Like, if you guys can't tell, my phone is a little Sony Xperia L2.
Sony does good with their phones.
It's not a terrible phone, but it's cheap. It's not one of the flagship phones from any of these brands.
Still,
I paid like $125 for it.
And it does what you need.
So I'm not as into phones as other people. Like, to me, I'm on it playing games and talking to you guys, but it doesn't need to be the powerhouse. I don't use Bluetooth on it really for anything. It's got a headphone jack.
But still,
so
yes.
Well, I mean, look, there's 10,000 wires in here on the floor. It's a fire hazard.
There's what?
Nothing is Bluetooth in here. It's all wired.
There's a mic here. There's a camera there. There's a computer over here. I've got lighting on both ends of the room. There's
John Cena is right there.
John Cena.
John Cena's right here.
Where?
Right here.
Where?
You can't see him.
Can't see me.
Power Rangers up there. We're in a haven
Cena, of
right
course,
now.
whenever you're watching this, will be in the Fast and Furious trailer that should be out.
God, I know.
Friday.
Did you see that? Yeah.
I saw the poster. He doesn't look happy in it.
No, he does not look happy.
So I'm assuming he might be a bad guy.
Wasn't it Vin Diesel and him over to the far right, John Cena, or from our point of view, it's the far right.
Well, there's a standalone
so
character
mad.
poster for his character, and he looks pissed.
Well, he looks mad in the one where it shows all three of them. But I mean, I think it's just look a lot. I love a lot of the Fast and Furious. The new ones are more like film instead of, or like movie instead of like, racing like some of the older ones. But there's a point in time. It's like, come on.
Well, 10's supposed to be the end.
Hopefully.
So they've said when they were doing 8 that 10 was the last one.
So they say.
So The Rock's not in this one.
And so that means they still have one movie left to do what every franchise needs to do. What's that, Lance?
They're going to go to space, Steve.
Franchise really makes it whenever they go to space.
Remember Jason X?
That's it. Jason X.
Terrible.
Leprechaun.
Oh my
in
god.
space.
Terrible.
Air Bud.
Space Buddies, yeah. Hellraiser Bloodline. So
why?
Why?
I'm sorry, Jason X. He is my favorite hack.
Yeah, but Jason X is cheesy and fun. Like
it was not fun.
Oh,
yes, there is this because there's a scene where he takes the chick's face and puts it into liquid nitrogen.
That's the only scene. Just because one scene is good,
but the one where he takes the
chick
chick in the sleeping bag and bangs her up against the tree and kills her.
I love Freddy Voorhees or Jason Voorhees. Freddy Voorhees. That's their kid. I love Jason Voorhees. I do.
Gabe is officially shipping a relationship between Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, where they're going to have this love child named Freddy Voorhees.
They couldn't decide.
Or is that just when Freddy gets married to Jason and takes his name?
That's it. They couldn't decide on a name, so they just did both. You're staring at me awfully hard. He's got to say something.
Well, I'm just sort of critical. I'm a little bit critical over your flip-flopping there.
What do you mean flip? What?
Why is it Jason X, not Jason 10, like an iPhone X and an iPhone 10?
That's a very good question.
Why are you?
Not me.
Well, it's because New Line Cinema decided that was Jason X, and Apple decided that was the iPhone 10.
I think Gabe just decided which one he liked to say better on each product.
That's it. You got it. Plus Ultra. Don't know.
So, in terms of a preview on next week's episode, I guess we can talk about the Fast and Furious Fast 9 trailer. But also, make sure you guys watch Samurai Cop so that you can play along with us on the next episode.
Samurai Cop with Samurai Jack, the cartoon series,
which is phenomenal. You should watch that too.
But Samurai Cop is a bad movie. It's a bad movie.
It is a bad movie. So watch it, and that way, when we talk about it, you will kind of know what we're talking about.
Gabe will give us an update on Thor and Love and Thunder next time.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Gabe will talk about it on every episode, despite there not being any news.
Until it comes out in 2021, baby.
They're still a year away from filming or whatever.
Yeah, well, Taika will get it done.
Get her done.
Beta Ray Bill's going to be awesome. Christian Bale's amazing. He was my favorite Batman.
Happy birthday, Christian Bale.
Yeah, again, happy birthday, Christian Bale. Watch this. Throw it out there. But I still think Ben Affleck, as far as He looked better as Batman.
He physically embodied the role.
Because his broad shoulders. But Christian Bale...
And that chin, too.
Yeah. Christian Bale, though, as far as being Batman, I loved. Dark Knight. Oh, that trilogy was fantastic. But yeah, happy birthday, Christian Bale.
And Gene Hackman.
Then Gene Hackman. I'm sorry. Forgive me for forgetting.
Oh, of course, the Batman started filming finally there.
Yeah, the Batman is filming.
So,
maybe we'll have some updates on that the next time we're here.
Hopefully.
Get a picture of that bat suit.
Yeah, that's not happening. We're not going to see that bat suit or that Batmobile yet.
Batmobile.
No, not right now. They ain't going to do it that early. That would be awesome, but they ain't going to do it that early.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. You go to our Facebook, give us a like, follow each one of us individually on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the little bell icon on YouTube so that way when a new video comes out, you'll be notified. Officially R-rated. Fuck you, Gabe.
Who's going to let us know? Oh, R-rated.
It's R-rated.
R-rated.
No. Wait.
Ah!
No.
There goes about 100 million at the box office. Difference between PG-13 and R-rated.
Okay, so like, subscribe, follow. See you guys next time.
See ya.